Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks. I am actually Keef. And today I'm going to do another Scottish recipe, or Scots recipe I should say. I'm going to make Lorne sausage and also some morning rolls and Tattie Scones. So, Lorne sausage was requested by Lank Puddin, who's just recently discovered the channel and is binge watching it and made a nice donation, which is most welcome, so thank you, Ian. Lorne sausage, also known as square sausage, flat sausage, sliced sausage. It's a brilliant thing because it's sausage, but you don't need to stuff it into a casing, so it's very easy. And it was first mentioned in print in 1890 something, I think, but nobody's quite sure where the name comes from. There's 2 or 3 theories, none of which are entirely plausible, so we don't need to worry about it. And also I'm going to make some Tattie Scones just because I feel like it. And I've done these before, but they're really great in a morning roll with some flat sausage and butter. If you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, etc. And let's get on with it. I'll make the Lorne sausage first because that needs a couple of hours in the fridge or the freezer to firm up so that you can slice it. So I've got a big bowl. I've got 750 grams of minced meat. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. I've got 75 grams of coarse breadcrumbs. I'll need 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt, and maybe a splash of water just to loosen it, but we'll see about that when we get there. So the meat, Lorne sausage, is usually kind of beefy. This is actually a mixture. It's 60% beef and 40% pork, and also it's minimum 20% fat. You want plenty of fat in your meat. And the breadcrumbs, they're not just there to bulk it out. British sausages, breadcrumbs serve the purpose of soaking up moisture and, you know, the fat and the juices as it's cooking and holding on to them so that you get a juicier sausage than if it was just pure meat. That's the theory. So we need to mix all these together. And it's always going to be better to do it by hand than trying to use a spoon or something. Coriander. Nutmeg. Salt. Pepper. You don't really want freshly ground because it'll be too crunchy. And the rest of the meat. And the breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs are just, you know, scrag ends of loaves that I collect and dry out and then blast them in the food processor. I want to get this all nice and homogeneous, so it'll take a minute or two, come back. So this is, it's pretty dry actually, so I'm going to put some water in. And I guess the breadcrumbs will grab hold of that and keep it in there. Just squeeze it through your fingers, get it nice and, pasty. Right now, a loaf tin would be very useful. That's actually a £2 loaf tin, and I'm going to line it with greaseproof paper so we'll be able to get it out easily. Okay, I was a bit ambitious there. There's not enough to fill it, so I'm going to put it into this smaller tin. Press it well down, and hopefully there won't be any cavities left down there. Doesn't matter enormously, but yeah. Could actually weigh it down with another tin. I'll just press it down. And then I'll stick this in the freezer for an hour because I don't want to freeze it, but I want it firm enough so that I can slice it. Now I'm going to make the Scots morning rolls. I've never actually knowingly had such a thing. They actually come in 2 distinct varieties. One is the Glasgow version, which is well fired. Very dark brown, very almost black and burnt looking, and, you know, obviously quite a crunchy crust. The rest of the country just regular sort of golden brown looking. Ingredients for that: I've got 450 grams of strong white bread flour, I've got 250 ml of lukewarm water, a teaspoon each of active dried yeast, salt and sugar, and 30 grams of lard cut into titchy bits. You could use oil if you don't have lard. And for sort of dusting and stuff, some ground rice flour, or you could use semolina or polenta. This phrase, lukewarm water, it means warm. Between 37 and 43 degrees Celsius is ideal. So that's actually cooled off quite a bit while I've been talking at you, so I need to warm that up a little bit. There we go, 38. So we need to mix everything together. The yeast, the salt, the sugar, and the lard, and the water. And we'll just whack that on the mixer. You can do this by hand, of course, if you don't have a mixer, but it'll take quite a bit of effort. The dough hook attachment on your mixer, and just set it going. And when it's all come together in a ball, you want to keep it kneading for about 10 minutes to get it nice and smooth and elastic. Okay. I reckon that'll do. That's nice. So pop it in a bowl and cover it with plastic film. And leave it in a warm place to prove, which means it needs to double in volume, and that might take an hour or two. Right, now I'm going to make the tattie scones. So I've got a couple of tatties. They weigh about 500 grams, just a bit over a pound. And I've cut all the nasty bits off. I haven't peeled them completely, because basically we're doing mashed potato, and I'm going to use my potato ricer, and that actually takes off any skin as you're going, so it makes it a bit easier. So cut your spuds into chunks and try and get them all about the same, so they'll cook in the same amount of time. So in a pan, just enough water to cover them, a teaspoon of salt, and bring them to the boil and simmer until they are tender, which is like normally 10-15 minutes. Right, there's the risen dough. Fantastic. And I always hate this bit, because now we have to unrise it. We have to knock it back, knock all the gas out of it. So you want some flour on your worktop. Pop your dough on there. Now I want to divide this into 9 equal pieces, so I'm going to weigh it, because I'm not very good at eyeballing stuff. We'll call it 750 grams. I'm also not very good at mental arithmetic, so I'll just find a calculator and work that out. Okay, so it comes to 83 1/3 grams. 84, I think that'll do. Right, there's my balls of dough, and I've got a tin that I've lined with greaseproof paper. For these, you need a tin with a tallish edge, because they will expand, and that'll stop them from expanding into like saucers. So they're quite close together, and that is perfect, because as they rise, they'll sort of kiss each other, and when it's done, you just tear them off one big piece. Cover that with a cloth and stick it in your warm place to rise again. My rolls have risen quite nicely and grown into each other. So now I'm just going to paint them with milk. And then just sprinkle a bit of rice flour across the top, or semolina, or that other thing, polenta. And now you want your oven preheated to 210 degrees Celsius if it's a fan oven, convection oven, or 230 if it's a conventional one, and that is gas 8. Or use your air fryer on 210. I can't use the air fryer for this because this is too big to fit inside. Shame. Alright, oven's nice and hot, so let's put the buns in for 15 minutes. Buns. 15 minutes later. Oh yeah. Right, let's just get them out of the tin. Get them off the paper. and let those cool down. Probably about 15 minutes before you really pull them apart and taste them. Meanwhile, let's cook the other stuff. Now the tatties are well and truly cooked. There we go. So drain them. Just let them stand for a minute or two to kind of steam dry. Haven't got a use for that right now, so it's going down the plug hole. Right, now we'll rice the potatoes. I don't know why they call it that, because it's nothing like rice, but anyway, that's what it is. Stuff a load of spuds in and squeeze them. And then we do get potato peel left behind, so I'll just get rid of that and do some more. Now we'll finish off the mash. So you want a good knob of butter, some salt, about half a teaspoon, some white pepper, and just mixy. I would normally add a splash of milk to mashed potato, but we don't want it at all wet. In fact, the drier the better. Just have a quick taste. Nice. Now we're going to turn the mashed potato into a kind of dough. Feed in as much flour as you can. So that's 2 tablespoons. And 3. And 4. So let that get cool. And then we'll finish it all off. I'm rolling out the potato dough into a couple of discs, about the diameter of that bowl. So flour on your worktop, rolling pin, and trim around the bowl. Then cut them into quarters. Set those aside till we're ready to cook them. Okay, I've got my Lorne sausage loaf, and actually it's the next day, so this is from yesterday. You'll notice it seems to have shrunk quite a bit. It hasn't really. It's because I snaffled a bit earlier on. And I can tell you, it's really good. The other thing you'll notice, it's not actually square, but, you know, the tin's not square. So, cut a few slices, nice, well, about a centimetre, about half an inch. I'm going to cook these on my cast iron griddle plate, along with some Tattie Scones. From comments on the last time I made Tattie Scones in a video, you don't actually fry them in a pan with oil. You do them on a dry griddle plate, ideally. So we light both burners under the griddle plate and wait for it to get hot. Then we pop the slices of sausage on and give them 3 or 4 minutes each side. While that's happening, we'll put the Tattie Scones on as well, and they probably want 3 or 4 minutes each side also. I know I said no oil on the Tattie Scones, but a little squirt of oil is okay, or even just slap it in the fat from the sausage. Right, let's sort out the breakfast roll. These are fantastic. Even though I made them, I'm well impressed. I discovered that my microwave has a warming oven feature, so if I slap it in there on that for 10 minutes every now and again, it does help things along in winter. So yeah, this is a proper carb fest. It is not healthy in any way, shape or form, but do we care? Of course we do. Sausage and brown sauce. So it's always called brown sauce. It has no other name unless you refer to it by brands. So this is Daddy's. The other very well-known one is HP. Houses of Parliament. Right, brown sauce. and tatty carbs. Whoa, look at that. The breakfast of kings. Okay, it's taste test time. Am I ready for this? I think I am. Whoa. Yep. It's all wonderful, but I think if I wasn't doing it for the video, I would leave out the Tattie Scone, because it's just too much. Too much carb, really. But I shall struggle on, bravely. That's all great stuff, but I've got to say, the star of the show are these morning rolls. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so impressed by their eyes and the crumb, the texture, and the flavour. Really nice. The other stuff's not bad either. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time.